Alright, so last time we left off was, it is interesting. I thought we were gonna take a break from seeing the nonsense of Aoko and Sojiro making out of the freaking castle that collapsed. On Aoko's part, that is, and now they have to deal with Alice, and then now we're back to square one with the fight scene. Also, look at this blue bird. Yeah, we got a blue bird in the background, just chilling in a lamp on a lamppost, just minding their own business. Oh god, okay. Without big further ado, with a magical barrage that would leave an average spellcaster blue in the face, the novice mage broke through the siege. Meanwhile, meanwhile, a single bird keenly watched everything unfold. Interesting. Hey, W. Chirp, cheep, 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 chirp. The moment the blue bird descended into its master's field of vision, it made its high-pitched call. The girl listened expressionlessly to the report.
構わないわ。予想通りよ。撃つこと、壊すことしか脳がなくても、青子の魔力の使い方は波じゃないから。急増の使い魔じゃ、まだ相手にはならないでしょう。
Well, no wonder your bird looking shiny. Still couldn't believe he's gone. Yeah, it's fucking unfortunate. Fucking sucks. So it's also really unexpected too. That's the fucked up part. Meaning she knows how to destroy and shouldn't destroy the way Alco uses magical energy is extraordinary. Hastily formed familiars are no match for her. Oh, she's that was an Alice part. The robin flapped his wings as it tweeted in response. You get it? Tweet. Like Twitter. Perhaps it was criticizing Alice for complimenting Alco. Or perhaps it was jealous of Alco for being praised by Alice. Alice could barely make sense of its chirping rant. Aoka Ozaki was a novice mage. Yeah, you can see this bird flapping. Wow, there's actually some sort of still image, but with the bird this time. Until just 2 years ago, she had grown up with no background in magecraft. Compared to Alice, who was raised as a witch from birth, Aoko possessed far less talent and experience. Raised with witchcraft from birth. There was simply no comparison to be made. In a contest of skills in magecraft, 10 times out of 10, Alice would be declared the victor. However, that narrative changed when it came to a battle for life or death. Alice Koonji was not the type of mage suited to combat. Okay, what the... I think the audio's messed up on here. Hold on. No, the audio's fine. It's because of... Alice Koonji was not the type of mage suited to combat, while Aozaki, on the other hand, was built for it. In a contest that pitted magical energy against magical energy, even Alice would concede that Aoko had the upper hand. Aoko's manipulation of magical energy was extraordinary. The scale of her magic circuits was smaller than that of Alice, but her rotational speed, durability, and output quality, not to mention efficiency, were otherworldly. That was Aoko Aozaki's hallmark. Though she had many failings when handling sophisticated formulae, in just 2 years of practice, Aoko had surpassed Alice in simple formulae that merely required an energy input. She also had a genius instinct and adaptability. Though Aoko was not particularly proficient at executing magecraft, she was terrifyingly fast. If she had been born outside the Aozaki clan, she would have doubtless risen to fame as a competitive sharpshooter.
でも残念ね。
sharpshooter. As if you really need magecraft in order to be a sniper. Or a rooftop sniper, that is. That's ludicrous to me. She's from FGO, cool. Cool, I guess. In a straight shootout, Alice did not stand a chance. Alice Koonji had never bothered to learn primitive magecraft like magic bullets in the first place. She was the classic puppeteer. Her familiars served as her arms and legs to carry out all the particulars of a battle.
制限時間には気づいているわよね、青子。
You know, I thought Fate Grand Order player base can be a pain in the ass to deal with, but man, I dealt with Type Moon people that are also a pain in the ass.
魔力はいくらでも貸してあげるけど、あなたの魔弾はあと半時で値崩れするわ。
Chirping as if in agreement, the robin took flight. It had been nearly 10 minutes since Alice had made the amusement park into her dominion. To what would the green fog give birth next? Aoko and Sojiro, still running about, would soon come to understand the gravity of their situation. Oh shit.
しずきくん、正門ってこっち？
ああ、その店を曲がれば出口だ。
Running non-stop at full speed had them at their limits. Their breath ragged. The duo rounded a corner at a breakneck pace. Amusement park though it was, this was still the infamous Kitsy Land. It would have taken a high school student 20 minutes to sprint this entire circumference of the park. As though they were now intimidatingly familiar with the park's geography. Oh, we're back to square one, ain't it? Yeah. It was changing beyond recognition. The transformation was not limited to the park's residents either.
Ozaki.
何を？
言いたくないんだけど、この遊園地広くなってないか。
No, just you. It was. Them off, whatever. Their problem wasn't as mundane as mistaking the location of the exits, nor the strange terrain. No, the park was warping and twisting in upon itself. Even as they ran, its structure was expanding and growing, like that of a living creature. Soon, the pair noticed that the mob encircling them had grown even stronger. Entrusting her back to Sojiro, Aoko summoned all of her effort just to keep them from whining. No one would blame Sojiro for cowering in shock, but for Aoko to do the same? She bore responsibility for causing and then dragging him into this mess. Yeah, no shit. She could not afford to succumb to panic.
大丈夫。落ち着け私。遊園地の果てはある。遠いけど鉄柵はちゃんと見える。フラットスナークだって制限なしってわけじゃない。外に逃げるって選択は正しいはず。現状外までは目算で1キロぐらいだけど。
Up until now, they had been too concerned with simply running. Their breathing had become labored. If they had to run another mile without rest, they'd end up collapsing along the way.
青崎、体大丈夫か？
え？
What are you daydreaming or in deep thought or something? The whisper from behind pulled Aoko back to reality.
大丈夫だけど ちょっと一息入れたいわね。
賛成。ここから休みなしで外周まで走るのはやめた方がいい。
驚いた。しずきくんも外まで走ろう派とは。
She let slip a giggle. Far from debilitated by panic, her comrade in arms had been analyzing the situation and forming an escape plan.
ちょっとだけ建物に逃げ込むのは。
気は進まないけど、それしかないわね。
Just as long as you don't destroy the other building. Oh, whatever. The breadmen had them completely surrounded. Perhaps this might have been a problem for an average person, but for Aoko, breaking through their formation to get to the building would be a cinch. The issue was...
問題はどんな店を選ぶかってこと。
She considered the characteristics of the transforming park. What would pose a danger and what was safe? The most important factor was not the strength or the complexity of the building.
そうだ。選ぶならあの単純さで正しいはず。しずきくん、あっち。
Oh, why are you standing as Shag? Fucking run for him. After routing the monsters, Aoko hopped behind the counter, soon followed by Sojiro.
カウンターに隠れてて。
Like she was in a Western shootout, Aoko squared off against the monsters, using the counter as cover.
Bingo! ここならスナーク化しないんだ。
Nothing in here can get snarkified. After assessing the current state of the enemy, Aoko sat down under the counter.
あいつらは。
店の周りで地団打踏んでるわ。理由があってね。あいつらはここには入ってこられないのよ。
Aoko gave the perplexed Sojiro a grin and took a moment to catch her breath. She heaved a heavy sigh of relief and fatigue.
とりあえずコーヒーブレイクね。ここは遊園地の中でも遊びのない場所だから、あいつらにとっては鬼門なのよ。
This restaurant is the blandest place in the park, which makes it their Achilles heel. Oh yeah, no, this restaurant is just too ordinary.
レジスターも調理器具も最近のものだし、擬人化されたマスコットもないし、スナーク化するにはちょい文明犬すぎるってこと。
スナーク。
Snark?
あいつらの名前よ。つけたのは私じゃなくてアリスなのかしらね。あの子の性格的にちょっと想像できないけど、まあとにかくそういう名前。
Perhaps now at ease from knowing they were safe, Sojiro seemed enthralled in her explanation. Aoko could not help but chuckle as Sojiro nodded sagely. It was certain that he had no idea what she was talking about. Normally this would have terrified her. I was about to say that. Normally this would have irritated her, but this time she was grateful for the warmth of his strange sobriety.
それはともかく調子良さそうだな、青崎。
Mistaking her smile for composure, Sojiro broke into a smile himself. It was just another link in the chain of misunderstandings, but there was no need to redress it.
あれ？あなたから見てもわかる？私の魔弾の威力が上がっているの。
そりゃミラーハウスで散々追いかけ回されたからな。あの時と同じ動作なのに物騒さが増していれば嫌でもわかる。
took the words right out of my mouth there. Yeah, you're the one. Yeah, he the one who got his ass beat. Almost.
でもいいのか？確か数に限りがあるとか言ってただろう。もう随分打っちまったけど、20、30じゃ効かないぞ。
あんた、時々あれよね。
ん？
Her opinion of him approved. Just a little bit.
なんでもない。
What?
私の魔弾の威力が上がっているのは、単純に魔力の濃度の問題。さっきから霧がかかってるでしょ？あれ、全部魔力なのよ。弾を撃つための燃料と思って。
Magical energy was divided into two broad categories. First was OD, produced inside a mage's body. Second was the mana, which filled the atmosphere. At the moment, the amusement park had turned into a fairy tale land, overflowing with... So what you're saying is the environment around her is the fucking... Oh, brother, okay. So okay, so you don't have a limited amount of ammo, if whatever you can word it by. Although it meant nothing to the average person, to a mage it was a paradise where spells could be cast as much as one pleased.
じゃあ残り魔力とやらは気にしなくていいのか。注意すべきは怪我と体力だけ。
まあ、個人的な責任においてはその限りね。
Sojiro breathed a sigh of relief. From Sojiro's perspective, more so than the monsters she mowed down, Aoko was the biggest bully on the playground. He had been concerned about what would happen should her magical energy be exhausted, but luckily for him, she was far from surrendering her crown.
頼りにしてくれるのは嬉しいけど、ぬか喜びよ。あんな雑魚たち、ただ動いているだけのガラクタなんだから。スナーク本体は当然として、アリスが他の童話の怪物を出してきたら、私じゃどうにもならない。
他の童話の怪物？遊園地をこんな風に変えたやつ以外にまだいるのか？
そう、プロイキッシャーって名付けられた私たちでさえ目を背けたくなる反則。不可能な夢物語をも再現する時代に取り残されたデタラメよ。
Floyd Kickshaws. Even I have a question mark of the death of the word ploy kickshaws. Sojiro's expression seemed to be calling her out on the hypocrisy.
あのね、私たちはちゃんと現代に寄り添った魔術師よ。
Yeah, sure you do.
できないこともあるし、当たり前のことだけど、近代兵器にはかなわない。20世紀、まあ、いろんな戦争の後押しで、兵器の進化は私たちを超えちゃったから。けど、あの子のは違う。どんなに人間の技術が進歩しようと関係ないって怪物なの。例えば、あのブレッドマンいるでしょ。
Oh, you're gonna say that with that expression on your face?
あいつには自動拳銃とか効かないわよ。多分、意味が分かっていないから。
Aoko casually gestured outside, past the counter.
アリスの使い魔は、全てが空想によってこねられた神秘なの。前提からしてありえないことだから、通常の物理法則と折り合いが悪い。空想と現実は両立しないっていう、ごく当たり前の理由でね。
なるほど。ブレッドマンってのはあの動く焼きたてパンのことなんだな。
Sojiro seemed to have ignored the majority of Aoko's explanation, only reacted to the part that caught his curiosity.
話を戻すけど、 あいつらと近代兵器の相性は最悪。ロケット弾でも効果はないわ。意思の疎通、秩序の共有ができてないから。プロイキッシャーにとって彼らの世界には存在しないもの、意味がわからないものは触れることなく無賛する。彼らに通じるのは同じ神秘を帯びた魔力だけっていうデタラメぶりよ。もう完全に概念空間っていうか概念宇宙っていうか。
Cut off there?
要するにあいつらは伝承防御っていう特別なルールを持っていて、単純に強い力、強い魔術じゃ効果は薄いの。元になった童話にちなんだ欠点をつかないと倒せない。ギリシャ神話のアキレスあたり分かりやすい例えなんだけど、知ってる？
Obviously, people would know the example. Sojiro shook his head. Oh.
そう。無事帰れたら飛び丸あたりに教えてもらって。定番だけどいい話よ、あれ。
Tobimaru gonna tell Sojiro about the myth of Achilles? Sojiro was feeling pretty lost, but he did his best to grasp the situation. He thought that ploy kickshaws were scary enough to chase Aoko and that puppet from before out of the house barefoot. Oh, that's a fucking... It's a creepy-ass horse on a carousel. Actually, that's not a carousel. Yeah, that's freaky. That's a little too freaky for October, if you ask me. Certainly, the scene before them was the stuff of nightmares. But Sojiro had a different way of thinking.
やっぱり青崎の方が怖くないか？
あんた死ぬの？
Wow. Sojiro waved in protest, silently pointing out that she had made his case for him.
あのね、今私たちを取り囲んでるのはおまけに過ぎないの。アリスにとってあのブレッドマンもロブスターもソーセージ屋のミンチマシーンも全部が全部私が撃ってるマダンより価値がない。いい？あの動くマスコットたちはね、ただのおまけなの。アリスが解放した童話の怪物の一呼吸みたいなものなのよ。
That was a bit of an odd computer mishap on my part. Jesus. More than the breath. Oh, okay.
呼吸ってこれが？
私だって考えたくないわよ。でもそれが現状。たった一体の童話の怪物だけで私たちは手一杯。そういうわけだからアリスがあと一体でも追加したら諦めて。
It's Jover.
追加ってこれに制限はないのか？
あの子が出し惜しみしなければまだ何体かストックはあるでしょうけど、まあ成立する条件はあるわね。例えば川がないと目を覚まさない怪物もいる。この遊園地噴水はあるけど川はないでしょ。元になった童話縛りなの、あの子の使い魔は。
童話ってかけそばとか？
ここに川がないのは不幸中の幸いね。もしあったらもっと直接制圧に向いたやつが出てきてた。
Aoko continued, completely ignoring Sojiro.
話の続きだけど、アリスの魔術の基本はマザーグースって知らないか？イギリスの歌で遊び心に富んだメルヘンチックな内容よ。
Obviously, I've heard enough of these nursery rhymes on her part.
ただそっち系のプロイキッシャーは怖くないの？ みんなそれなりになんとか魔術にも落とし込める範囲だから。
聞きたくないんだけど、そっち系じゃないのは？
マザーグースを下地にしたとある創作童話系。あの子のお母さんが好きでね。こっち系のはどいつもこいつも尋常じゃない。私たちから見ても勘弁してって言いたくなるわ。で、この遊園地を生き返らせたのはこっち系よ。多分フラットスナークってやつだと思う。私も聞き流していたから詳しくはわからないけど。
Sojiro swallowed the discomfort making its way up his throat. He really wanted her to explain things a little less vaguely, but something she had just said necessitated further investigation. Necessitated is whatever you could call it.
待て青崎、あの子の話を聞き流したってなんで？
いや、説明してもらったのは随分と前だし、あの頃はアリスの話あんまり信じられなかったのよね。
Damn. It's fine. I'm pretty sure you got tired of Alice yapping at you.
私が素人だと思って大げさに自分の魔術を語ってくれてるな、舐められてるなとか。
Yeah, lovely. In truth, if anyone hadn't taken the lesson seriously, it was Aoko. She would learn that lesson firsthand soon enough when she experienced just how real Alice's monsters were. She'd also discover how heretical the Mindster witches truly were in the world of magecraft.
その聞き流した内容は？
何でも強力な結界を張るプロイだって。アリスが受け継いだプロイは山ほどあるけど、その中でもえりすぐりの一つよ。捨てられたもの、忘れられたものを童話的に蘇らせるやつで、今まで誰も破ったことがないとか。それでついたあだ名が触れられぬもの。
フラットスナークじゃないのか？
それもあだ名。とにかく正体がわからないやつばっかりなんで、一つの個体に複数の名前が付けられるの。
When Flat Snark isn't just an alias.
フラットスナークはその中でも正体不明さはトップランクのデタラメぶりよ。あなた、ルイス・キャロルのスナーク狩りって本知ってる？
Hunting of the Snark by Lewis Carroll.
いや、そ
Carl.
もそもルイス・キャロルというのは。
Lewis Carroll. I thought it was supposed to be pronounced Lewis Carroll. But now it's just making it funny with Lewis Carroll. Oh, whatever.
そっからか。ドジスン教授はそうね、特殊性癖を持った妄想紳士ってとこ。まあこっちは別にどうでもいいか。人によっては時間の無駄だろうし。今重要なのは彼が残した著作の方。スナーク狩りはね、スナークって呼ばれる正体不明の怪物を捕まえようと奔走する冒険家たちの話なの。
Let's see.
キャロルらしい皮肉ばっちり、支離滅裂、意味不明、結末不在の本当に困った本で、一行は島で苦しみつつ最終的にはスナークを見つけるものの、見つけたベイカーは唐突に姿を消して終わってしまう。
God damn, that poem though. Originally released and published in the 1870s.
よくわからないもの探しに奔走する人間の風刺なんだけど、この遊園地において誰がベイカーで
何がスナークかは言うまでもないでしょ。
Aoko elected not to share this, but Flat Snark had other popular names as well. The Enigmatic Island, the Five-Dimensional Plane. These names were not given to it by Alice, but rather muttered by mages whom the Mindsters defeated. In mathematics, snark is a term used in graph theory to refer to contradictory and impossible planar graphs. A plane, proven to be unable to exist in this world, was given the name, apt for an ill-fated existence paradoxical in nature. The fairy tale monster ascribed this name was said to hold no form discoverable by man. Aoko also declined to mention something else. Flat Snark was a fairy tale monster that could grow. It would hide somewhere in an amusement park, continuously exhaling magical energy until the park completely transformed into a fantasy land.
脅かしてもしょうがないし。
何か言ったか？
別に。簡単に言って、童話世界の再生がフラットスナークの力なの。この遊園地との相性は抜群でしょうね。何しろもともとが童話を元にした遊び場だから。
Does that explain what's happening with the amusement park right now? If this had been a business district, for example, Flat Snark would have posed far less of a threat. At most, its power would be limited to projecting the shadow of a dinosaur onto a building's window panes.
お、だからここは安全だって。ん？
Sojiro realized that something was wrong when he noticed a glutinous liquid dripping onto his back. Let me guess. Oh. Yeah? What are you gonna say? You can tell by the look on his face. He looked up to the ceiling. Their eyes met. Before he had a chance to think, Sojiro hopped up from the floor. Taking the initiative, he jumped out from behind the counter. Trying to stop him from committing an act of suicide, she also came to her feet. Immediately, she noticed something coming to life overhead. Yeah, you don't say. I mean, he's not wrong. His ass was about to get ambushed. The gargantuan mouth clamped shut. With no mascot to speak of, the burger joint itself began to transform into one giant monster. An employee nut job. Somehow else? You mean somewhere else? Aoko aired out her grievances as she ran. There was no safe haven left. Moment by moment, the last remnants of civilization were being eroded away by fairy tales. Great, we have a gargantuan being and a dragon. The amusement park had reached the final stage of Snarkification. It was not just the mascot characters that had been granted life. Like the burger joint, even the buildings had begun to transform. The roller coaster then made its way about the park writhed and twisted like a Chinese dragon. Aoko and Sojiro stared, dumbfounded by the Ferris wheel, which had grown to over 250 feet in height. Hordes of breadmen closed in on them, as if to offer tickets.
この列整理は間に合ってるっての。
Mobs of trinkets, actual kickshaws, ramaged the park. Whenever a hole was punched in the envelopment, it was instantly filled. It was a battle of attrition with no end in sight. But that was a matter of course, as there were few fairy tales about limited resources.
なんかどうしようもないぞ。こいつら増える一方だ。
Yeah, no shit.
スナーク本体を探して。童話の怪物には本体に当たる器物があるの。それさえ壊せば遊園地から出られるはず。
本体ってどんな？
さっき言ったでしょ。童話の怪物は現実にないものだって。今までいなかったおかしなやつとか現実じゃありえないもの、それが本体。
I know, but where? Oh well.
おかしなやつって例えば？
だから命のある人形とか空飛ぶゴーカートとか。
Aoko paused her firing for a moment. After saying this out loud, she realized just how deep their grave was dug. The amusement park was a treasure trove of fairy tale-esque creatures on any given day. Who could say what was impossible amidst the newly transfigured knickknacks running around?
そっか、おかしくないやつなんて一つもないんだ。
I know. You already got a flying dragon roaming around the amusement park.
この中に紛れ込んでる。
Hoping that she was wrong, Aoko bit her bottom lip. Aoko bit her bottom lip. Flat snark was the type of ploy that deployed bounded fields. Yeah, that rhymes. I think that's some shit. Seeing as it was commanding so many familiars, it would not be unusual for its main body to have little or even no defenses. Furthermore, if it was modeled from a story about it being untouchable and unidentifiable, it would be logical to assume that it would collapse in on itself shortly after being discovered.
逆に言えば、見つければ私たちの勝ち。そんな脆いやつが雑魚に紛れ込む。木の葉を隠すなら森の中って言うけど。
This was closer to the truth than Aoko realized. Oh hey, the freaky horse. As long as there was the slightest possibility of it being hit by one of Aoko's stray bullets, it would not dare appear in front of them. Its true form was orchestrating the park from somewhere safe.
でも、どこかに見えているはず。スナークは本の主題だもの。 常にページのどこかにいないと主人公の資格がない。
But where? Put very simply, the Ferris wheel was the safest location in the park, as well as a symbol of its past glory. Perhaps...
あの子を捕まえるのは。
Her eyes opened wide at the sudden suggestion. While Aoko had been trying to come up with a plan to overcome this stalemate, it seemed Sojiro had been racking his brain as well. His proposal was a simple one. If they could not find the Snark, they just needed to take out its master, Alice. Alice had not moved at all from the clock tower. Even from here, they could make out her figure, draped in moonlight.
それは一番ダメ。 アリスを殺してもフラットスナークは止まらないし、このトンデモが外に溢れ出すことになる。だいたい私じゃあの子を殺せないから、よくて半殺しがいいところ。
A bread man, angered at the insults hurled towards his master, moved to attack and was mercilessly burned to a crisp. The two stood back to back, catching their breath. With no plan to speak of and no route of escape, they had reached rock bottom. Meanwhile, the oddities were forming a circle around their prey as if they smelled blood in the water. Were they to be dragged into a bakery for the oven, minced in the meat grinder at the butcher shop, skewered and paraded around atop the carousel, walked the plank of the thorny pirate ship? After 2 years of slumber, they were eager to welcome their new guests.
一応聞いておきたいんだけど。
何？手短にね。今考え事してるから。
ああ、あの連中が何をしたいか嫌っていうほど伝わってくるんだけど、それってあの子の趣味なのかな？
その疑問はなかったわ。連中の人間嫌いは遊園地の怨念とフラットスナークの性格じゃない？基本的にまともなやついないから、アリスの使い魔って。あ、でも
Aoko was unable to deny that there were some similarities.
それは結構。それで青崎の考え事って止める方法考えついたのか？
Yeah, any sort of plans yet?
期待させて悪いけどお手上げ。ま、あんたが殺されれば止まるでしょうけど。
They'd stop if you drop dead?
それは嫌だ。とりあえず逃げよう。
Pretend you have a heart attack.
え、しずきくん
She blinked in surprise at the sudden turn of events. Sojiro, who had until now been meekly following her lead, had grabbed Aoko's hand and pulled her with him into a head-on charge at the swarm of bread, in an attempt to break out of the encirclement.
意味わかんなすぎ。なんで今の流れでそうなるのよ、あんたは。
Because, when in doubt, he's going to be physical. Aoko nonetheless followed Sojiro's uncharacteristically gung-ho lead, cursing him all the while. Alone, he had no chance of breaking through the surrounding wall of enemies with brute force. Aoko regained her bearings and let fly a spray of magic bullets ahead of Sojiro. They burst through the net and ran as hard as they could. At this point, all that was left to do was what they had planned from the outset. Get out of the park. But not before addressing what needed to be addressed.
なんでよ、さっきはあんなに諦めよかったのに。
Aoko could not begin to comprehend Sojiro's reaction.
ミラーハウスの時と今は違うだろ。いいから走れ。
違わないわよ。あんたを殺そうとした私も、あんたを殺したいアリスも、理由の結果も同じよ、私たち。
Though she wondered what was getting her so worked up, Aoko did not stop. She told herself that the degree of Sojiro's stupidity, charging the bread men so recklessly, had caused her to lose her cool.
あのね、一緒に逃げてるぐらいで勘違いしないでくれる？言っとくけど私、明日に会ったらまたあんたを殺しに行くから。死にたくないってんなら、ここで私からも逃げ出したら？
それはまた今度の話だろう。だいたい青崎に殺されるのならいいけど、あの子に殺されるのは嫌だ。
Is that really the time to talk about it though?
だからなんで？
だって顔も知らない、話したことさえない相手だ。
It was like someone had doused water over her blazing fury. Aoko's anger was snuffed out by the absurd simplicity of his reasoning.
顔も知らないって。
Because you don't know what she looks like. Could it be that Sojiro did not mind being killed by someone as long as he had met them? Aoko grimaced as she followed him. Oh, now it's calmed down at the ambient noise. Okay, hold on. I gotta take my coffee break.